everybody, this is Sovereign. It's going to give a video on the different types of split pushing heroes and what makes them effective. Understanding like the different kinds of split pushing heroes and what each one brings to the table is important for picking like which hero you want to be split pushing in a draft. Heroes who split push provides them in very different ways. Compare say a hero like Darkseer to a hero like Terrorblade. Both split push very effectively, but both do it in very different ways. So understanding which one's best for which situation is pretty important when you're drafting a hero who wants to split push. So split pushing is a concept that can be applied in a lot of different ways by a lot of different heroes, and how each hero does it and like what they bring to the table in terms of split pushing is like pretty different for a lot of heroes, and like why certain heroes get drafted. For example, sometimes you need this kind of split pushing hero, sometimes you need a different kind of split pushing hero. Generally, something a lot of split pushing heroes have in common is they all clear waves very quickly. That's just kind of a theme, right? You need to clear creeps to get to the tower pretty much no matter who you are. So stuff like Storm, stuff like Darkseer, Slark are all pretty good at split pushing. Another common theme is they don't have to commit anything, or they're very hard to kill. For example, say a Terrorblade, like you don't commit anything to pushing that wave. You just spawn an illusion, throw it down the lane, it'll push on its own, it'll get you farm, it'll push the wave in, it'll get you information. You commit nothing other than 70 mana. Darkseer, you Ion Shell it, same general concept. Or they're really hard to kill, like say a Slark or a Storm Spirit. Generally it takes at least 2 or 3 heroes to kill them if you can catch them at all, and then if you don't, then like you waste so much time that the enemy team just gets more ahead. The other kind of split pushing is like very highly mobile heroes, so like a Prophet. Like he's not individually very hard to kill, but the fact that he can kind of just like teleport around, like if he sees you anywhere, he can just teleport to the complete other side of the map and show the lane and then teleport back. Basically just means you're constantly chasing him. So although the hero itself individually isn't that very hard to kill, he can just kind of keep you chasing him forever, like Quap or kind of the high mobility Quap, Storm, whatever. In addition to this, there's also like a lot of these heroes don't really hit towers. So for example, like Darkseer, he shows in waves, but he doesn't actually damage towers that much. Like you're not going to stand there as a Darkseer hitting a tower. You do like no damage. Whereas a hero like say Terrorblade, where although he might not push the wave in as fast as say a Darkseer with Ion Shell, he'll actually be able to take the tower really, really quickly because of Metamorphosis and Illusions. So split pushing heroes offer all kinds of different threats. Like for example, Terrorblade will take your tower if he gets to your tower. Like he takes it very, very quickly. But say a hero like Storm Spirit or Slark might offer solo kill potential in the guy who defends, whereas a Terrorblade won't. But say a Darkseer, although he won't push the tower or have as much solo kill potential on the person who shows up, he'll be able to do it without committing anything. So there's all kinds of different like advantages and disadvantages to these different kinds of split pushing depending on like how mobile you are, what hero you are. Another hero who can pretty much do everything is Morphling. He's extremely mobile, he has waveform, he has replicate, he's very hard to kill because of his strength gain, as well as the fact that he damages towers a lot because he's a right-click hero with a very high agi gain, and he has solo kill potential if he goes E-Blade. Like that hero pretty much has everything you want when it comes to split pusher. He has solo kill potential, and the guy comes back, he pushes, and he's hard to kill. Pretty much that's just everything. Anti-Mage is kind of another similar one. He pushes towers and he's hard to kill. He doesn't have that much solo kill potential until he has Abyssal Blade, but when he does, he's got a ton. So Anti-Mage and Morphling are kind of like the two probably scariest split pushers in the game, just because of like they have pretty much everything that the split pusher wants. But yeah, so it's like these different qualities that make a split pushing hero effective. Certain ones are more effective in a game. For example, if like the enemy team has a bunch of squishy cores or a bunch of squishy heroes with like no stuns or whatever, then a Morphling can just kind of solo take over the game, because like he can just shove in a wave. If somebody shows up, he kills them and then go to the other side of the map and then do the same thing. Like, and then that pretty much means you're always dedicating at least 2 heroes to dealing with one of the enemy, which means that they'll just kind of like out efficiency you by the time the game ends, just because they'll have 5 heroes farming whereas you'll have 4 or something. So like each of these heroes are good in different situations. Like if the enemy team doesn't have any catch for Storm Spirit, he can kind of just solo take over the game. Like you just farm, and if you don't have any catch for Storm Spirit, which means that he can just dive you, which means that like kind of similar to Morphling, you're going to need to have at least like 2 or 3 heroes there to deal with him all the time, which means he's just going to sit there and just be like, well, they're sitting 3 heroes here and my team's farming, so I'll win in 20 minutes because we'll just out farm them. So having a draft who can appropriately deal with these kind of split pushing heroes is like probably one of the harder points of like a draft that most people don't understand. Like even in high level Dota, like my pub games, people just like pick these awful drafts, they can't deal with split pushing, and it's like, well, if we just, pick X here, we just kind of win the game because, they can't deal with it. Like, they'll draft no stuns, and I'll just be like, well, carry player, pick Morphling, and I think we win the game. And it's like, you literally, like, don't even have to do anything. Like, there are some games where I'll be like, pick this hero and we win the game, and then I can literally just not do anything for the entire game, and we'll just win on our own, just because it's like how bad their team was at dealing with that hero. So I think understanding split pushing is a pretty important part of drafting, because like if the enemy team can't deal with it and you pick a good split pushing hero who can abuse their weaknesses, you can literally just win the game on the spot without having to do anything. It helps a lot, especially when climbing pubs. Like if you can get your team to listen to you, and if they know how to play that hero well and you get them to pick it, like I said, you literally don't have to do anything. You'll just win on your own. Most of the time in pubs, it's pretty much always correct to just split push all the time and just show up to fights with TP scrolls. The thing that split pushing lets you do, for example, like, I'll just give this example. Say you're Storm, and you see that the enemy team is grouped up around your bottom lane. What you can do is you can, like, walk top, shove the lane in, shove it to their tower, and then the enemy team kind of gets stuck in this situation where, like, if they're all bottom, they can TP someone top and defend their tower, and then at which point they're now down a person bottom, and you can just pour down there and take a fight 4v5 or whatever. Or they could just give up the tower and try to take a fight at your tower, in which case you can then either TP if it's a good fight or take the tower. Either way, you're getting something out of it. And this is why split pushing cores and pubs are very strong, is because like people don't deal with them adequately enough. Like the enemy team kind of gets stuck in this lose-lose situation where like either way, if they take a fight and they lose, then like the Storm Spirit's going to like take their tower and they're going to lose the fight. But if they go split up to defend, then they're going to have to fight 4v5 against Storm Spirit, and it's kind of like these really awkward situations. And plus, most split pushing heroes can do a lot on their own, so this is what makes pub heroes. Another thing to keep in mind with split pushing is how long it takes for a hero to come online to do it. For example, say Storm, he probably needs like a Bloodstone or like an Orchid before he actually like begins split pushing very effectively. He needs to be able to sustain his mana to do it. Like a Storm with like no items isn't going to split push very quickly. Whereas say a hero like Darkseer, he can do it with literally just level 7 and you just Iron Shell and that's it. You don't have to commit anything. Here, like Terrorblade, like a no items Terrorblade illusion isn't going to push very quickly, but like a Slark or something can just dark pack the wave. So another factor to keep in mind in split pushing is like how long it takes for a certain hero to come online to do it. Like Ember Spirit is another kind of split pushing type hero. Like, yeah, he split pushes fast with Flame Guard, but he really doesn't like do it that quickly until he gets Battle Fury. Like Urbo, when he does get Battle Fury, he gets like 4 times as fast. So how long it takes for a certain hero to come online for split pushing is another important factor to keep in mind, like when you're drafting it. Like how early do you want to be split pushing them? Like if you don't need to be split pushing them that early, maybe you can get away with a more greedy style split pushing hero like Storm Spirit, who takes a while to come online, versus something like a Darkseer who can just do it from level 7. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you have any questions, comments, criticism, feel free in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.